Hello people of YouTube, I'm John, and today I have a couple models from ExactRail that I've been waiting to see for a long time. So let's go over to the workbench and take a look. Alright, so here's what we're looking at today. These are HO scale Thrall 54-foot coil cars from ExactRail. Looking at the ExactRail website, I see 3 different paint schemes, and these cars go for $54.99. So why don't we take a look at the one closer to the camera first, and then we'll take a closer look at the one that's further away from the camera after that. These things are pretty amazing. So as usual, I've scrutinized the paint on this car, and it's flawless. It is nothing short of perfection. All the pad printing, the writing, and everything on it is legible. And one of my favorite things on this car is if you look down at the trucks, it might be hard to see from here, but here and here, you can see that there's stenciled markings right on the trucks. That looks really cool. The logo and everything else is perfectly done. And I don't know if you can tell on the camera, it's kind of hard to see, but I noticed when I pulled this car out of the package, and the other one as well, that this photo etched walkway has a little bit of waviness to it. Now, I'm pointing that out because I want to mention it's cold in my office where I do these product spotlights, and I know from experience that those things will warp a little bit when it's cold. So under normal circumstances, I would expect this to be perfectly straight. And I'm not making excuses here. That's just the way it is. Cold weather or cold temperatures always affect photo etched walkways like that. So looking at the brake end, and I realize we don't usually look at this sharp of an angle, but I had to raise the camera to put the model sort of under it in order to show you how complex the separately applied brake detail is in there. The car has no brake detail underneath. It's all exposed, and they did a great job replicating that. And all the little pieces you see are separately applied. There's a photo etched little walkway here, and these little grabs are also separately applied, as well as the grabs to get up. And it's a separately applied brake wheel that we're kind of looking at the back of that here, trying to focus in on it. It's kind of hard because of the angle. But what you can also see here is that it has an uncoupling lever and an air hose just on the other side of the coupler there. So good detail. Very good detail. I don't know that they could have done anything more with it, to be honest. All right, so I'd like to show you the other side of the car from a high angle like this, just to show you the top. And we're going to bring in the grayish one here in a minute, because I want to point out that the top of each car is different per prototype. So, as I said before, there's no detail really to look at underneath the car. So this is our last look at the Conrail one that we're going to have. And as you can see, now the hood has completely different hardware on top for when they remove it. And the hood also is a different shape. So they've gone to some lengths to make the prototypically accurate details shine here. So yeah, that's really cool. Let's take a look at the B end on this one. All right, so again, we're looking at a lot of exposed brake detail, and there's a lot there. It's all separately applied, just like the other one. The brake wheel and chain and all that's all separate. You have your air hose down here and a uncoupling lever, separately applied little wire grabs. I mean, just the detail on this car is pretty amazing, really, on both of these cars. I mentioned something about prototype specific detail a minute ago, and if you look real carefully on this, it doesn't have that stenciling that I was so impressed with on the trucks on the other one. Because you know why? The NS version doesn't have that. I mean, right? Makes sense to me. I got to take my hat off to ExactRail for this one. It's an amazing model. Both of these are amazing. And one more thing I'll mention before I wrap this up is if you look at the Walkway, it's not as warped as the other one. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not as warped as it was when I pulled it out of the package. Because when I came out here to do this spotlight and pull this out of the package, I didn't have my heater on yet. Well, now my heater's been running for a good 3 or 4 hours, and the ambient temperature in the room went up. And now the walkways are not warped really at all. So that's what I was talking about before when I was referring to the walkways warping under extreme cold. And I'm in California, so I mean, it's not really extreme, but what I mean is temperature swings really affect photo etched walkways. So, as usual, I think ExactRail has done just a phenomenal job with a fairly complex looking car. The brake detail that's exposed on the ends is just really something to behold. And they've done such a good job with it that, I mean, it's just phenomenal, like I said. I should also remind you that the etched metal walkways are so finely rendered, they're so thin, that the temperature swing in the office here actually did affect them. And that's something that if your layout room gets temperature swings, especially when it gets to be colder, you may find warpage on yours as well. Just know that once you have your heater on and get the temperature back up to a more comfortable level, that these walkways will straighten back out. You don't have to mess with them because you may actually damage them if you try to straighten them out when they're warped like that. So great job, ExactRail. I'm looking forward to seeing more from you this year, and I'll catch you next time.